Hello, everyone, and welcome to the session 6 of Reference 360 Enablement Series. I'm Neelima, and in this particular session, I'm going to talk about workflows and stakeholder assignments. So if you have already gone through the agenda or any of the sessions, you would know that this enablement series basically focuses on we have created different videos based on different topics in reference 360 so that the learners at their own pace can go over these videos and kind of pick and choose from various topics on which they want to learn or understand more, right? So coming back to the session 6, in this particular session I plan to introduce you to the reference 360 workflows. I'm going to configure a multi-step workflow approval and kind of take you through the whole workflow process. And then I'm going to talk about various reference 360 roles and stakeholder assignment, in which I'm going to kind of show you the restricted access that a reference 360 user has and how using the stakeholder tabs we can provide access at an asset level. All right. So coming on to the reference 360 workflows. Now, by default, each and every code list has a single step workflow available, already by default, it's configured and it's available there. But if an admin wants, they can, configure this multi-step approval. And for today's enablement series, I'm going to use these three users, which is Nike admin, which has an admin role, and who would be like, responsible for configuring, as well as the final approval for a code list change. Business analyst would be the user who would request changes to a particular code list. And business steward is going to be a first step or a middle step approver for our workflow process. And I'm going to show you configuring two-step approval, but I mean, you should know that, you can configure like more than 2 steps, like 3-4 steps approval process, right? So let's log in into an environment and let's start with the approval process. So I'm going to log in as Nike admin, and the first step would be I'm going to configure a workflow approval. Like, how do we configure exactly, the workflow? So I'm going to log in as my Nike admin, and this particular user has various roles available, reference 360 roles, used to configure the workflow. So I'm going to click on the reference 360 tile and come on to the explore tab. And now for today's example, I'm going to use, let's use this location types and enterprise location types as an code list. And for this particular enterprise location types, I want to configure the workflow. So if I come here and select this workflow tab, I'll be able to see that, a one-step approval workflow is already configured and available here, right? So if you see here, I have like list of approvers here configured. I have various task actions like approve, send back, reject, and, comment. So for send back and reject, we always, want a comment to be added so that the requester knows that, why it was rejected or sent back. But for approve, we can always have, optional or required, the comment section, right? So let's start with, adding an approval task. So I click here on the add approval task. And if you see as an admin, I also have option to delete the same task. So let's, call this as approval task 1. Okay. So you can, create a new task, assign a task name here. And then if you see here, it says add at least one approver. So I need to add one approval or a first step approval for my, workflow. So I'm going to select, let's select two users here. I'm going to select Caroline and myself as, the first step approvers. And, these two would be the approvers. And for the final task, I want just one approver there, and I want it to be admin. All right, which is me. I want, as a final approver, I want all the changes to come to me and I want to review it and approve the changes. And let's see, for the first step, I have made the comment as required. And for the final approval, I have made the comment as optional, right? So this is the configuration that we have done for our workflow. Let's save the changes. So this is the workflow configuration that we have done. Now coming to our step 2, which is, starting the workflow approval. So coming back to the slide, now nNike_BA is my requester. So I'm going to log in as nNike_BA. So I'm going to log out and then I'm going to select this user and log in. And I'm going to go to my reference 360 tab, tile. Go to my explore, and if we remember, it was location type, enterprise location types, for which we had configured the workflow. And if as a business analyst, I can come here and see, so I can see here that there are 2 approval tasks configured, and these are the approvals, right? So let's, start the approval process. So I'm going to, as a business analyst, open this particular code list. And I'm going to create a draft mode in which I'm going to make some changes and send it for approval. So let's assume I want to change it to 1, 2, 3. And then I want to add as personal location type. I'm going to save this. And because this user is a business analyst, he cannot delete any of the code values there, right? So I added one code value here and I changed one code value here, right? Which is Office 123, right? And here I'm not able to see those changes because it's not yet published. So I'm going to save these changes. All right. And automatically, because I had created this particular code list in draft mode, it's logged by me. And I want to send it for approval. So to send it for approval process, I need to come as a business analyst to workflow inbox. And then I'll be able to, see that particular location types code list for in which I was making changes. And I'll be able to see, like, in green, what was added, in yellow, what was edited. And then I just want to send it for approval. So I just click on the send for approval. I can select the priority. Let's have it as medium. I can select, till what date, the due date, I want this approval to be done. I can see the first approval is Caroline and Neelima, which is me. And the final approval is again the user ID created by me. And comment is again optional. And I send it for approval. All right. So from assigned, the status got changed to completed for the requester. Now I'm going to go log out and log back in as a first approver, which is nNike_business steward. And again, I'm so along with, we have this mail notifications that are available, which will kind of be triggered once the approver, once the requested sends it out for approval. So This is because I am the approver, the first step approver. I get this mail that, you are requested to review and approve the changes, who has requested the changes and the date, right? And because comments were empty, it's all empty. And then I can also see that there was a mail sent, and I got this mail because again was the requester, and I've sent this particular location types to these two users to, approve it. So let's come back here. And I've logged in as a business steward. And I got that mail, right, to kind of know that, okay, I have a task to be approved. So I come here on my workflow inbox, and I see that this particular review enterprise location types code list is unassigned. So why this is unassigned? Because there are two users who can, pick this task up and approve or either reject or send back the changes. So as one of the users, I can claim this task. So I click on claim, and automatically those buttons got changed, and I am able to see either release it back. Maybe I change my mind and I don't want to review and approve it. So I can, release it back. Then second one is approve. I can, review all the changes and then, approve this or send back. Maybe there was a mistake created by or added by the business analyst, the creator, and I want to send it back with some comments. And if you remember, the comments was mandatory or required for send back. But now I'm going to, as a business steward, going to see these changes, compare them. So I know that office got changed to office 123 here, and there was a new code value added, which is personal. So I'm okay with these changes done by the business analyst. So I'm going to go and approve it. And if you remember, the comment was required field. So I'm going to just add my comment, approved by business steward. Okay. And if you see here, the status of this task, workflow task got completed. So as a business steward or as the first step approver, I have approved the changes in the code list. Now let's see who was my final approver, and Nike admin is my final approver. So let's go back and log in as Nike admin. And again, there would be a mail notification also, which an Nike admin would get. Let me just see if I got that mail. Yes. So as an Nike admin, because my email ID is assigned, I got this particular mail that you are requested to review and approve the changes, the requester's name, who approved it previously. So I'm able to see, okay, this is the person. Again, I mean, for this example, again, it's me, but this obviously will be some other user who has previously reviewed and approved it, and what was the comments added, right? So let's go back to our application and let's go back to reference 360. And let's go to the workflow inbox. Now in workflow inbox, I'm able to see that, okay, I have this pending task available, and I don't see that claim because I'm the only one user, who can approve or reject this code list. So I am able to, I can open this task and view it, all the details here. And I'm able to see who has created this, comments by the previous approver, the changes that were done in this particular code list, and then various options, right? I'm able to see the due date, I'm able to see the created on date and modified on date, right? And then I have various options to either release it. I don't want to approve it. Maybe I want to release it back. I want to approve it. I want to reject it or send it back, right? So difference between reject and send back would be, reject would, free up the logged code list and all the values changes would be rejected. And the original code values would be published, and the send back would be the code list would still be in locked status, and the business analyst, which was the original requester, gets this task and maybe can do the changes and send back again for the approval, right? So I'm going to, take the happy path and kind of approve the changes. So I'm going to approve all the changes. So either I can add a comment, or, I can cancel it and just, have no comments, because if you remember, the comments was optional there, but I'm going to add my comments and I'm going to click on OK. So as soon as I click on OK, the status got completed, and my, the changes which was done on the enterprise location types got published. So if you see here, this code list is no longer in locked status. And I can see here the Office 123 and one more code value added here. Right. So if I log in again as a business analyst, which was the requester. Sorry. I'll be able to see, there's no task in my workflow inbox, and the changes are published. All right. Okay, so that was all about the workflow multi-step approval. Now coming on to the stakeholder assignment. So if you have gone through the session 2, in which I kind of talked about the out of the box roles that are available with reference 360, and we also have more granular level of access or privileges that we can assign to our users. So I'm going to today give you an example and show you like how can we restrict a user from accessing everything that is available on reference 360. So for that, I'm going to use this n_RDM user, which just has this reference 360 user role assigned to it. So before that, I want to kind of, just go over as a revision of what are the out of the box roles available. So I'm going to log in as admin here. And I'm going to go to the administrator tab. And go to the users section. So in this, I'm able to see all these users that has been created on this particular org. And let's use our example, which is our n_RDM. So if you see here, we have a bunch of reference 360 out of the box or default roles available, in this section, which can be assigned to the user. Now, each and every role has a different privilege assigned to it. Like, business analyst is basically, if you assign this, he or she will be able to view and export reference data values, crosswalks and hierarchies, and that's about it. But if this role is assigned to this RDM_user, RDM user, all of the assets in reference 360 would, this user would be able to read and export all assets that are created in reference 360. If I assign reference 360 business steward role, this user would be able to, create and manage all of the reference data values, crosswalks and values for all of the assets that are available. Now, what if I want to restrict, a user to kind of have only a certain kind of privilege for a certain asset? So reference 360 also provides, at that granular level of privilege or role assignment. And I'm going to show you how. So for this user, we just have this reference 360 user role assigned. which is basically, if you read here, which is basically role for logging into reference 360, but cannot access any of the assets. So this is basically, you have a restricted role or a version of a reference 360 role. And let me just show you, instead of talking, let me just show you how. So I have just this role assigned to me, to this particular user, and I'm going to log in and as this particular user. So let's log in as RDM user. So if you remember what the definition said, I'll be able to log in into reference 360. I'll be able to see the home page and the other options available here. But when I come to explore tab, I see no data available, because again, this user has a restricted version of, role or out of the box role assigned to it. Now, how do I, give access? So as an admin, maybe I want this RDM user to be subject matter expert for few of the code list and, just have a view role for other code lists. So how do we do that? So let me just log in as an admin again to show you how we can do that or achieve that. So I'm going to log in as an admin here. And I'm going to go into the login into the reference 360 application. And I'm going to go to the explore tab and maybe, select a few code list inside geography. Let's take country code 3166 currency as an example. Or let's take MS country as an example. But unfortunately, there's no data. So let's take, ISO country code currency as an example here. And then, I want my RDM user, which we just saw, to be a subject matter expert on this particular code list. So how do we do that? So we need to come to stakeholders tab here. And as an admin or as a primary owner, so primary owner is the one who is responsible for assigning stakeholder roles. So as a primary owner, I can come here and I can select business 360 steward. And as soon as I select that, I'll be able to select this RDM user here. All the users or user groups would be available. So I get a notification, if you look closely, that along with this code list, I'm also giving access to these particular reference data set and code list, because either it can be a dependent code list or, a reference data set belonging to this code list belonging to that particular reference data set, right? So I'm going to, click save here. So let's remember that, we gave ISO country code currency, a business toward road, and let's go back and maybe for a state code, or let's again pick enterprise location type. And for this particular enterprise location type, I just want that RDM user to maybe have a business analyst role there, right? So I select the role as business analyst, and these are all stakeholder roles which is available. And again, I got this message that along with enterprise location type of, the reference data set, which has this enterprise location type, we also give access to it. So I'm okay with that. I click on add and I click on save here. All right. So as an admin, I've given, access to my RDM user to these two particular code list. Now let's just log out and let's see what happened or what all access did that RDM user get. So I'm going to log back in as an RDM user. So again, reference 360 is available to me. I click on that. and I go on Explore tab. And if I see here, I am able to see few of the code list to which as an admin, I provided privileges to this particular RDM user at a stakeholder level, right? So at stakeholder level, if I come here, I'll be able to see that, this user is assigned business steward role. Now, as a business steward, right, if I have a business steward role, I should be able to import code values. So I can see that I'm able to import the code values, export code values, and also create draft is available in which I can, modify or make changes to that particular code list. But if you remember, only a business analyst role was assigned to the location type. So let's come here and open. So if you notice here, right, import is not available to me, create draft is not available to me as a business analyst, and I can only read or export the code values. So it's amazing how, at each and every asset level, you can provide different privileges for a particular user, right? So as an administrator, I wanted this RDM user of mine to be a subject matter expert on this one code list and just view and maybe, work with the data on other code list. And that's what I defined and did here. And I've taken an example for one code list, but this can, spread across multiple code list and, various domains and various, reference data belonging to a particular function or a particular domain, right? So this is the mix and match that we provide at a stakeholder level. And this is the example that I wanted to kind of demo and show here. So that's all I had for session 6 of Reference 360 enablement. So we talked about workflows and stakeholder assignments. And if you wish to have a hands-on experience or want to work with workflow and stakeholders, kindly contact me. I should be able to, provide you with users and an environment in which, you can kind of log in and see like how exactly this works. All right. So with this, we come to an end to our session 6. Thank you.